Hello, I'm MB Domrise, or Dom for short, and welcome back to DragonflyClan. I have some exciting news as we finally got Pale Tumble kits, 6 of them to be exact, and they came early in the year, so there are a ton of apprentices in the clan right now. Tumblestripe announced that she was pregnant on the first moon, so technically I should have mentioned it last year, but I forgot. I don't really have any other announcements right now, so for now, let's get into year 3 of DragonflyClan. To start out 1-star's year, I'm going to have to start with yet another death that's hit her hard. Droplaness died in her sleep on the first moon of year 3, and 1-star spent half the year grieving her mother. 1-star thought she knew what grief was until Droplaness died. She thought she'd never recover. The roughest night was when 1-star had to sleep in the Elder's Den, trying to hold on to whatever faint scent of her mother remained. About halfway through the year, 1-star finally realized that she couldn't keep abandoning her clan for years on end and decided to take a patrol out to clear her head. The patrol ended up running into a dog, and 1-star saw her chance to prove she wasn't weak anymore. She took the biggest share of responsibility by leading the dog away personally, but she tripped on the route and the clanmate needed to save her from the dog, leading to Hero getting his tail mangled by the beast. 1-star felt worthless returning home and almost gave way to grief again. By the time Palenose's kits were apprentices, 1-star saw her chance to recover fully. She took on one of the more rambunctious kits, Sandkit, as her apprentice and figured that an apprentice would help distract her from everything that's happened. Sandpaw is a rather energetic apprentice, and on his first day he tried to catch a mouse without any instruction from 1-star and ended up missing it. He took training more seriously after that. Unfortunately, that same moon he got a thorn on his paw, but insisted he could handle the pain, despite hissing at each step he took on the injured paw. By the end of the year, Sandpaw had felt confident in his training and felt he was destined to be an amazing warrior, maybe even deputy or leader. Here's hoping he gets there someday. Tumblestripe had always pushed against having kits. She never felt ready, but when Flare Scratch told her she was expecting, she suddenly felt intense joy. Palenose encouraged her and said she would be a great mother, with Tumblestripe finding herself agreeing with him more and more every day. Flare Scratch started to notice some problems, however. Tumblestripe's litter seemed to be bigger than anticipated, and she worried that the kitting might not go too well. Tumblestripe tried not to think about the bad news, as Palenose always found a way to distract her, whether that be by bringing her the biggest prey on the pile, telling her wild patrol stories, or helping her think of names for the kits. When it was time for the kits to come, it was the longest night of Tumblestripe's life. It was painful and relieving at the same time. In total, 6 kits were born that night, but something was wrong. Tumblestripe knew she wasn't supposed to feel this weak, and yet it was like her life wouldn't stop draining from her body. Palenose was called in, and when he saw what was happening, he begged Flare Scratch to do something, anything that would save his mate. Tumblestripe knew as well as the medicine cat that she was beyond saving. She rasped to Palenose in order to not forsake her kits because of his grief, and to raise them as she would have. Palenose didn't try to fight back the tears in his eyes, as Tumblestripe's next moments were spent in StarClan. As a kid, Rattlecit was fascinated by plants of all sorts. He would often hang around the medicine den and pester Flare Scratch about different herbs. He also quizzed his dad, Palenose, on various plants, such as mosses, so I expected him to be a medicine cat. He actually got apprenticed to Crouchrump on Moon 9, so the plant interest is probably just a phase. Unfortunately, that same moon, Rattlepaw caught green cough and was confined to the medicine den. Flare Scratch did all she could for the apprentice, but his sickness ultimately killed him on Moon 12. Hero certainly wasn't happy about his tail getting hurt. It would mean that he couldn't go on patrols for a while, but the news about his best friend's mate was great. Hero was looking forward to being a role model for a bunch of bouncing kits, and told Palenose how happy he was for him. When word of Tumblestripe's disastrous kitting reached him, Hero knew Palenose would need him now more than ever. 1-star's proclamation was even more shocking to him, though, because Hero had been named deputy in Tumblestripe's place. This new role changed things. How was he supposed to balance friendship and a responsibility as big as this one? After his tail healed, Hero made sure he always took a patrol out himself to practice leadership. He grew into the role, and his clanmates started to treat him with more respect than usual. Hero would get up way earlier than he usually would to make sure he never overslept and disappointed the clan. He knew spending time with Palenose was important, but being deputy was also important. Surely helping the clan was more important than selfishly spending his time with one cat. On one patrol, Hero got his paw stuck in a 2-leg trap and only got it out after the trap had done a number on his leg. Limping back to camp, he was stuck in the medicine den for moons. On top of that, he started to catch white cough as well. Palenose always found time to visit Hero and cheer him up, but the visits only made him feel worse. Hero felt like a horrible friend for not making more time to spend with Palenose, especially after he lost someone so close to him. Shortly after he recovered, Hero vowed to spend more time with his friend. He took Palenose and Crouch Rump out to mess with some Two-Legs, but the fun outing turned disastrous as Crouch Rump was caught and taken by the Two-Legs. Hero couldn't forgive himself, but found that a comforting presence had visited him that night while he was asleep. He recognized Droplet Nest, who gave him a warm smile and assured him that Crouch Rump was alright and that he shouldn't blame himself too much. His clan needed him to be at his full strength, and worrying would only put them at risk. Hero took the advice and prayed that Crouch Rump would be able to find her own way home if she wanted to. After Crouch Rump's disappearance, One Star gave Hero her apprentice, Rattlepaw, who was still sick with grain cough. Hero started to suspect the apprentice was faking it to get out of training and tried to make him work, but Flare Scratch only scolded him for the careless way he addressed the apprentice. Hero felt worse about his behavior after Rattlepaw died and swore to make it up to Palenose, somehow. Flare Scratch's first loss of the year was her own tail. She couldn't save it and was forced to amputate it so the infection wouldn't spread. She had a hard time balancing without it for a while, but she eventually got her footing again. She blamed herself for not working harder to save Tumblestripe's life, but knew deep down that there wasn't anything she could have done. Maybe Grey Mask would have been able to help, but she avoided going down that route. The good news was that there weren't any problems with the kits, and they seemed to be growing well and living healthy lives. The night before their apprentice ceremony, however, Flare Scratch received an ominous prophecy. She was visited by Grey Web and Grey Mask. Both cats she knew died tragically shortly after the clan was founded. They shared with her a dark prophecy. A mother's grief cannot be silenced. Her kin will join her forever in death. Rattle rots away, the first to go of all the 6. Light is swallowed by dark jaws, not lucky enough to escape death twice. Fire comes for shade and sand. As siblings they stand till the end. Though tough she is, slow the water is not when it comes for the 5th. And alone the posy will wither, until its blood is spilt by deceiving claws. Flare Scratch wanted to ignore the prophecy, to believe it wouldn't come true, but when Rattlepaw became sick with grain cough, just hours after his ceremony, she had to believe it. The StarClan cats hadn't told her when each apprentice would die, just how it would happen, and the order it would. She told One Star immediately, and the leader just ordered Flare Scratch to keep an eye on all cats mentioned, but not to say anything to them, in case the prophecy could be avoided. Flare Scratch was fairly certain she would be able to protect her own apprentice, Posypaw, as she was mentioned last. Flare Scratch figured that Posypaw wouldn't be next to die, and focused on keeping Rattlepaw alive, as he was foretold to be the first death. She wailed inconsolably when the poor apprentice died, and she was forced to tell Posypaw of the prophecy shortly after to explain her reaction. Posypaw didn't want to keep the secret from her family, so she made the choice to tell her lair mates that they were all doomed to die terribly. When she was a kit, Posykit was deeply invested in the stories of StarClan cats. She was intrigued by the mysteries of her ancestors, and felt that if she became a medicine cat and talked to StarClan, she would be able to finally meet her mother. At the apprentice ceremony, she asked to become a medicine cat under Flare Scratch. While Flare Scratch was busy taking care of Rattlepaw, Posypaw would be tasked with collecting herbs alone and often had more success than failure, believing Tumblestripe was guiding her path. When she learned of the prophecy that cursed her family, Posypaw was horrified that her mentor kept it from her. She told her siblings, who thought she was joking at first and didn't want to believe it. Lightpaw, however, saw some truth in the statement and encouraged the others to believe Posypaw, saying that they should be more careful from now on. Okay, so if you are hearing this, it means that my video is too long for YouTube to allow, apparently, because of my low subscriber count and the fact that I'm limited to 15 minutes only, which means I will be releasing DragonflyClan in 2 parts. I didn't think I'd reach my limit so early, but just know that the parts won't be too far apart. I'll probably be releasing the second part tomorrow just to space it out a little. And with that, I'll be saying goodbye for now. So, see you tomorrow.